Hi there, my name's Sam of Core Yoga, and today I'm going to take you through a yin yang flow, the flow that focuses on bringing movement and mobility into the body, allowing us to move the breath around the body, and then bringing us to stillness in the end of the class to allow us an opportunity to work deeper into the connective tissue within the body. So today we're going to start the practice lying down on our back with our knees out to the side in Supta Baddha Konasana. So coming down to the floor and bringing your bum halfway up your mat, your feet in front of your hips and allowing yourself to rest down to that. And close off your eyes here. Bring your hand onto your belly space, bring the soles of the feet together and allow the knees to drop out to the side. Now, first of all, just take a moment to settle and assess how this feels in your hips. If this feels uncomfortable in the outside of your hips, you can either bring some cushions underneath your knees or alternatively bring your feet mat distance apart and allow the knees to drop in. I want you to be comfortable here. We're going to start in a yin pose. We then start to mobilize and move the body, bringing some length, releasing the tension in the tissue that surrounds the body before we come to a more restorative yin end to the practice. So just taking a few moments, allow the body to soften and settle into this space. And just tune into your physical body first of all. And notice how that body is feeling today. Allow your mind to notice what feels tight, what feels congested, what feels sore. And when you notice spaces where you're holding on to any particular tension, then just pause for a moment. Take a deep breath into that space. As you exhale, soften it a little. And then move on to the next. So we take time before we start to move, strengthen, lengthen the body to become aware of where we're carrying tightnesses and tensions. So we can listen out for that in our own bodies through the practice. So at no point during this practice do I want your body to hurt. And do I want you to get into a pose that feels like the body should not be here. I'd like you to be able to listen to your body and respond. Be kind to your body. We're not here on the yoga mat to push through any boundaries. We're here to move, to breathe, to release the physical tension within the body, and in turn to bring stillness and calmness to the mind, to the nervous system. Start to deepen the breath. Your hands are on your belly space. Allow the breath for now to travel into that space. And as you exhale, allow that belly to pull away from the hands. Just allow that belly to rise and fall. So our practice today, I pulled together a flow really to help us release both physical and emotional tension in our body that we likely are feeling right now. So the practice, the movement part, is pretty flowy, it's pretty fluid. We're not spending any elongated period of time in any pose. We're allowing our body to move in and out of a pose to bring length to the tissue. And by tissue, I'm talking about the muscle, And then the fascia that surrounds the tissue covers the muscle, surrounds the muscle. Bringing a sense of release into the tissue will encourage the blood flow within the body. And we'll be moving with our breath so that we can encourage the prana, the breath, the energy to move around the body, to instill a more positive outlook. At the same time, we're bringing a focal point to the practice today. And so right now, I'd like you to draw your attention to your third eye space. The space right in the center of the forehead. You have your eyes closed. So for now, draw your internal gaze to this space. And as we start to mobilize and move, we'll try and maintain that attention to that space. The next time your belly pulls away from your hands, allow it to remain a little engaged. Bring your hands to your thighs and just use your hands to draw your knees together. Separate the feet so they're mat distance apart and bring your palms by your side, your palms facing up. We'll take 5 rounds of breath here, wide into the ribcage. And every time we finish one portion of the breath, we're going to notice a small pause. So as you inhale wide into the ribcage, you get to the top of that breath, you pause. And then exhale, release that breath at the bottom, pause. So every time you get to the pause, draw your attention back to that focal point of the third eye. And as we travel through the practice today, once we start our sun salutations, we'll have 2 opportunities in every single breath to bring attention to that space, helping us develop a stronger internal focus, to deepen our concentration, to improve our pratyahara, our sense withdrawal. From here, slowly hug your knees in towards your chest, blinking your eyes open, and just allow the gaze to be soft for now. And just take a little rock from side to side. And just notice how the back of your pelvis is feeling. We're just going to bring some small movement into the body. Come to stillness. Hug your right knee in and exhale, extend your left leg away from you so it hovers about 1 centimeter off the floor. Then inhale, hug the left knee in and exhale, extend your right leg out in front of you. So we're not moving quickly, we're moving with the breath. And we're just starting to tune into that breath now. We will return to gaze once we hit our sun salutations and then through the rest of the standing yang variation of postures when we're moving in and out of our flow. But for now, start to tune into that breath. Really bring your attention to that breath so that when we start to move, those subtle pauses become super obvious to you. So the next time you extend your right leg is the last time. And then bring the right knee in towards your chest, left foot to the floor, right ankle to thigh. And then from here, hug your knees in towards your chest, or hug your left knee towards your chest. And perhaps you can take your hands behind the thigh, or perhaps you can just grab your leggings or your shorts if the hands don't quite reach behind. So don't force yourself to get there. Make sure the back of the skull and the back of the shoulders can rest on the mat. And so if this feels uncomfortable in the front of the hip, for sure, bring your left foot to the floor. You can do exactly the same like that. And then from here, just take a little rock from side to side. So that same movement across the back of the pelvis. But now we've taken the right leg into an external rotation so that we can get a little more access to the outer hip space. And then from here, taking one more. And bring yourself to stillness. Release that side. Swap sides. Right leg stays on the floor. Knee comes towards you. You grab your leggings or shorts, or take the hands behind you. Back of the skull, back of the shoulders, stay onto the floor. And once again, just rock from side to side. So physically, this is just giving our glutes a nice massage. The glutes are the muscles that lie just at the base of the back, at the top of the pelvis, at the top of the butt. And sometimes they get a little tight and congested. So we're just giving them a nice little massage here whilst we open up our left hip. And then from here, come to stillness, undo that. And then bring the right ankle to the left thigh. This time bring the left foot to the right side of the mat. Move the left heel onto the the right heel onto the top of the left knee and come into like a fire log with your legs. So be careful not to allow the back up to arch too much here, and then swap sides. So it's like we're taking the legs into fire log from side to side, and we're keeping our pelvis nice and still. We're starting to activate the muscles around this pelvis. We're starting to move the bones of the legs so that they can mobilize and almost like they oil the hips, they hydrate the tissues in the hips. Good. And so making sure we're still attentive to breath as we take this more complicated movement. When we get it, we'll know what we're doing. And then the next time you bring left ankle to right knee, that's your last one. Hug your knees in towards the chest. Take your hands underneath your knees, engage your belly, and then inhale, lift the bum, and exhale, rock forward. So massaging up and down the spine, inhale to rock back, and exhale to rock forwards. And just allowing yourself to either balance or to bring the feet to the floor at the top. I'm not really worried just now what we're doing. We're just getting some nice massage to the tissue either side of the spine. So we'll do one more like this, and then when we come up, we bring the soles of the feet together and allow the body just to travel a little far forwards. So remember, we're not going too deep just yet, we're just mobilizing and moving the body. From here, you're going to inhale, draw the knees together, lift the feet, Navasana. And as you exhale, bring the soles of the feet fold forwards, Baddha Konasana. So you're inhaling, coming into Navasana, and you're exhaling, Baddha Konasana. These are not your deepest variations of the pose by any stretch of the imagination. So we're just warming up the body, tuning into the breath before we bring an intense focus into our practice. The next time you come to Baddha Konasana, instead, just cross your legs, bring the hands to the floor in front of you. Somehow find your way into downward facing dog. And when you arrive in your downward facing dog, this being your first down dog today, just take a moment to set it up. So just check those hands are around about shoulder width distance apart. The fingers are spread nice and wide. And then check the toes, the feet. And then the midfoot is nicely grounded on the floor. And know that that heel doesn't need to touch the floor. Hey, you might want to look at your heels. I just noticed, I know I'm tight on my right side today. And my right heel is way more elevated than my left. So you might start to notice these little imbalances in your body. And then from here, feeling that connection in the floor with the feet and the hands, push the floor away from you and lift the sit bones to the sky. Close the eyes, and as you stay here, notice if you can feel the tissues moving under your skin. So it's like this soft and subtle movement. And don't worry if you don't feel it, just tune into what you do feel. Likely you're feeling that sensation, but you're just acknowledging it in a different way. And so whilst we hold a pose, the tissues can react to that space.
and they can respond and they can lengthen. Just like when we move in and out of poses as we're going to do today, the body will just continue to go a little deeper and feel a little easier in every time you reach that pose. As you exhale, bend your knees and look to your thumbs. Step your left and then your right foot forward to fold. Inhale, press your hands into the shins and halfway lift. And exhale, forward fold, let it go. Inhale, reach your hands to the sky and look up. And exhale, close your eyes and bring your thumbs together in the center of your forehead. This is your third eye space. Now tune in to the subtle pause at the top and at the bottom of every breath. And every time you tune into that pause and bring your attention to the space in the center of your forehead. At the moment, we have the benefit of sensation of touch to help us bring our attention to this space. In a moment, we're going to lose that sensation of touch, but now we've had that physical contact, we might likely be better positioned to feel that attention. So dristi is gaze. The gaze can be internal. Move your palms to your heart space now, or external. Right now we have our eyes closed, and that dristi, that gaze, is to the third eye space. As you exhale, soften the shoulders. Then inhale, open the eyes, reach the gaze now to the thumbs. And exhale, soften the knees and fold forwards. Gaze to the tip of your nose. Inhale, halfway lift. Come to the third eye space. And exhale, forward fold, tip of the nose. Inhale, reach the hands forward and high and gaze to the thumbs. Then exhale, close off the eyes, thumbs to the heart space, internal third eye. Inhale, reach the hands up at that subtle pause, gaze to the thumbs. Exhale, soften the knees and fold forward, subtle pause, tip of the nose. Inhale, halfway you lift, subtle pause, third eye. Exhale, forward fold, subtle pause, tip of the nose. Inhale, reach the hands to the sky, subtle pause to the thumbs. And exhale, close the eyes, bring the palms to the heart space, internal third eye. Take a couple of breaths here. And notice how the gaze with the eyes closed is not strong. It's not fiery. It doesn't feel like your eyeballs are going to pop from their sockets. And notice as we start to get a little more physical now in the practice, the gaze starts to be external. And we start to try a little harder. Perhaps that external gaze becomes a little harsh. So be mindful of that, and every time you're aware of it, soften it. From here, inhale, open the eyes, gaze up to the thumbs. Exhale, soften the knees and fold forwards, tip of the nose. Inhale, halfway you lift, third eye. Exhale, hands down, right leg back, right knee to the floor. Inhale, reach the hands to the sky, gaze between the palms. Exhale, hands down, tip of the nose, step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, a breath here, the gaze between the thighs, between the ankles, or to the navel. And then inhale, travel the shoulders forward, high plank, gaze between the thumbs. Exhale, lift the hips, downward facing dog, between the thighs. Inhale, travel forward, high plank, thumbs. Exhale, lift the hips, thighs. Inhale, forward, thumbs. Exhale, lower the knees, the thighs and the belly down to the floor. Bring your hands out wide, your fingertips down and your palms lifted.
And then from here, as you inhale, open up through that chest, take the gaze to the third eye. Exhale, return, bring the gaze to the tip of the nose. 2 more like that. Inhale, open up through the chest, third eye. Exhale to the tip of the nose. Inhale, opening up through the chest, third eye. And exhale back to the tip of the nose. Release the hands by your side. Downward facing dog. As you exhale in down dog, your gaze between the thighs. Then inhale, bend the knees and gaze to the right thumb. Exhale, step the right foot forward, drop the left knee. Help the foot if it needs it. Inhale, reach the hands up, gaze between the palms. Exhale, hands down. Left foot steps forward and fold. Tip of the nose. Inhale, halfway lift, third eye. Exhale, forward fold. Tip of the nose. Inhale, halfway lift, third eye. Exhale, forward fold. Tip of the nose. Inhale, this time reach the hands to the sky and look up. And exhale, close the eyes. Hands to the heart space. Internal gaze to the forehead. Breath here. Reconnect. Inhale, starting to add movement into our lunge salutations. Exhale, fold forwards. Tip of the nose. Inhale, halfway lift, third eye. Exhale, left foot steps back. Left knee to the floor. Stay down, keep the toes tucked. Inhale, take the hips back, point the right toes, gaze to the toes. Exhale, come forward, gaze to the tip of the nose. Inhale, draw the hips back, point the right toe. And exhale, allow the gaze to come to the tip of your nose. So inhaling, gaze to the right toes. And exhaling, gaze to the tip of the nose. Inhale back to downward facing dog. Then exhale, stabilize here between the thighs as the gaze. Inhale, travel the shoulders forward, gaze between the thumbs. Exhale, lower knees, thighs and belly. Inhale, third eye, cobra. Exhale, push the floor away from you, between the thighs, down dog. This time, keep the gaze there as you inhale, right leg lifts high. Exhale, step the right foot forward. Inhale here. And exhale, squeeze the inner thighs and push the floor away from you. Then inhale, push both feet into the floor, reach your hands forward, wobbling is fine, and straighten both legs. Gaze between the thumbs. As you exhale, bend your knees, bring the hands towards the floor. Gaze either to your right toes or tip of the nose. Inhale, stabilizing, push the floor away from you, reach the hands high. Exhale, bend the right knee, come back down to the floor. One more like that. Inhale, push the floor away from you, straighten both legs, gaze between the thumbs or make you wobble. Exhale, hands down, gaze to the tip of the nose. Step your left foot forward to fold and exhale, forward fold, tip of the nose. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach the hands to the sky, thumbs. Exhale, soften the knees and fold, tip of the nose. Inhale, halfway you lift, third eye. Exhale, right foot back, right knee to the floor. Then inhale, send those hips back to that right heel, gaze to your left toes. Exhale, come forward, gaze to the tip of your nose. Inhale, coming back, toes. Exhale, coming forward, nose. Inhale, coming back, toes. And exhale, coming forward, nose. Then inhale, step the left foot back, downward facing dog between the thighs. Exhale, hold it here.
And then inhale, travel the shoulders forward between the thumbs. Exhale, knees, thighs and belly down to the floor, tip of the nose. Inhale to third eye. Exhale, downward dog between the thighs. Inhale, keep the gaze there, left leg lifts high. Exhale, set the left foot towards the left thumb. And inhale, stay here. Exhale, stay here. Push the floor away from you and squeeze the inner thighs. Set your base. Then inhale, push the floor away from you. Straighten both legs as the hands lift high and the gaze travels between the thumbs. And then exhale, push the back heel back and come back to your lunge, tip of the nose. Inhale, push the floor away from you. Hands lift high. Exhale, bend the left leg back to the floor. Inhale, push the floor away. Squeeze the inner thighs. And exhale, slowly with control, come back to where you started. Inhale, step your right foot forward. And exhale, fold forward, tip of the nose. Inhale, halfway you lift, third up. Exhale, forward fold, tip of the nose. Inhale, push the floor away from you, reach the hands to the sky, thumbs. And exhale, palms together in the heart space. Close the eyes, internal, third eye. Couple of breaths here. Being mindful to observe how the mind will wander, how the mind will be taken with the movement, with the strength, with the sensation. When you notice that, that's your opportunity to bring it back to your gaze, to your dristi. Inhale, open the eyes, bend the knees, Utkatasana, gaze between the hands. Then exhale, fold forwards, Uttanasana, tip of the nose. So two more like that. Inhale, bend the knees, Utkatasana, thumbs. Exhale, fold forwards, Uttanasana, nose. Inhale, Utkatasana. And exhale, Uttanasana. This time halfway lift, inhale, third eye. Exhale, hands down, step back to plank. Between the thumbs, inhale here. Then exhale, tip of the nose all the way to the floor. This time locust, inhale, still the third eye. Exhale, push the floor away from you. Downward facing dog. Inhale, still between the thighs, right leg to the sky. And exhale, step the right foot forward. Keep the left hand to the floor or the left elbow to the right knee. Depending on how much tension you feel in the front of your right hip. You don't want to feel tension here. If you have a block at home or something that you can put your hand onto, feel free to use that right here under your left hand also. And then inhale, reach the right hand to the sky and gaze to the thumb. Just stabilize for a moment here. Soften your right shoulder as you soften your gaze. Squeeze your inner thighs and push your left heel behind you. As you exhale, your gaze back to the tip of your nose. Drop the back heel and move the right hand to your block or to the inside edge of your right foot. Then inhale the left hand to the sky. So take a moment here as well. Your gaze now is to the left thumb. If that feels awkward to look up, then look forward and pick the third eye. From here, we're pressing the floor away from us, we're squeezing our inner thighs. As you exhale, you come back through to your runner's lunge. In and out of this, inhale, reach your right hand to the sky. Exhale to the center. Inhale into your variation of warrior. And exhale to the center. So this one's a twisted lunge. And back to the center. And this one's warrior leg, so it's a variation of side angle. And back to the center. As I inhale, I take my gaze to the right thumb. As I exhale, I bring the gaze to my nose.
As I inhale, I take the gaze to my left thumb. And as I exhale, I bring the gaze to my nose. This time, inhale, step the right foot back. Exhale, lower to the floor. Third eye, inhale, locust. Exhale, hands either side, downward facing dog. 3 breaths here in down dog. Keeping the gaze soft and still. Know that it's totally fine to move your dog. But just be attentive to the state of the gaze, the space between the thighs, the ankles, or the navel. And then coming to stillness if you're moving. Inhale, raise the left leg to the sky. Exhale, step the left foot forward. So take a moment, set this up. Again, notice if you have this compression in the front of the left hip, then to raise the hand will really help prevent pushing your bone into your hip socket there, which you definitely don't want to happen. Or you can bring the hand to the floor if it feels comfortable, or you can bring the right hand to the left knee. And then from there, inhale, take a twist, but squeeze your inner thighs, and your gaze now is to your left hand. So you're pushing back with your right heel, you're drawing your navel to your spine, and you have this lovely stable base. So we're just spending a couple of moments here to allow the body to adapt to this shape. And then we're going to exhale, come through the center. Take the left hand to the inside edge of the left knee, and then the right foot comes to warrior 2 stance, and the right hand lifts high. So you're pushing the floor away from you still with your thighs. You're softening your right shoulder as your gaze lifts to your right thumb. And then exhale through the center now, in and out of those. We inhale to twist left thumb. We exhale back to the center, tip of the nose. We inhale to our variation of side angle, right thumb. Exhale back to the center. Inhale to left thumb. Exhale, center, nose. Inhale to right thumb. Exhale, center, nose. Inhale, left thumb. Exhale, center, nose. Inhale, last variation of side angle. Exhale, center. This time, step your right foot forward and allow your body to fold forwards. Take a ragdoll. So grab your elbows, push the floor away from you with your feet. Feel a subtle drawing towards one another of the inner thighs, a subtle drawing to the spine of the lower belly. Close off your eyes and bring your internal gaze to the space in the center of the forehead. And then inhale, release the hands. Look to the floor in front of you. If your hands touch the floor, bring the left hand to the center of your feet. And if not, bring your left hand to your left shin. You're going to bend your left leg, straighten your right leg, and inhale, reach your right hand to the sky, gaze to the right thumb. Exhale, back through the center. Same thing, other side. Inhale, right leg bend, left leg straight thumb. Exhale to return. Inhale, push the floor away from you with your feet and squeeze those inner thighs. And that will stabilize the pelvis. Exhale. Inhale to lift up. And exhale. Inhale, last one. Feel that sense of length. Exhale through the tip of your nose. And then inhale, left hand, high thumb. Exhale to return. Inhale, press your hands into the shins and halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the floor and step back to plank. Take a breath in your plank. Then exhale all the way to the floor, tip of the nose. Locust, inhale, third eye. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, raise your right leg to the sky.
And exhale, step the right foot to the top of the mat. Ground the back foot parallel the back of the mat, warrior two. So just take a moment in your warrior two, reaching your fingertips away from one another, feeling the feet in contact with the floor, those inner thighs drawing towards one another. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, bring your right elbow to the right knee, so it's not hanging out here. Inhale, left hand to the sky, bend that left elbow. Exhale, hold it here. Then inhale, draw that left elbow back, open through the chest as you press the right elbow into the right knee. Just take a moment here, notice how this feels. We're getting more space in the front of the chest and we're using our arms as levers, but our gaze is soft and our gaze is either to that left thumb or to our third eye. And as you exhale, you're going to straighten your right leg, bring your right hand to your right shin, gaze to your right toes, and look towards, and reach towards the front of the mat. So now feel how this feels. Feel that stability through the body. And then inhale, bending to warrior two, legs open through the chest. Exhale, push the floor away from you and reach. Inhale, bend the knee, open the chest. Then exhale, reach. One more like this, inhale and exhale. Then inhale, back to warrior two. Exhale, windmill the hands. Step back, high plank, take a breath in here. Exhale, lower all the way to the floor. Last locust, inhale, third eye. Exhale, hands down. Downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg to the sky. Then exhale, left foot steps forward, right foot down. Warrior two, inhale. Take a few moments to set your warrior two. Push the floor away from you, squeeze your inner thighs. Feel softness in the shoulders. And then keep all of that. Bring your left elbow to your left knee, your right hand to the side. Then bend the right elbow. And then inhale, draw that elbow up, look up towards the sky. Stay here for a few moments. So we're using the left elbow to guide, well, to be honest, to keep the left knee in alignment. And the right elbow to open up through the chest. And we're feeling this sense of using the arms as a little lever, but maintaining that softness in our gaze so we don't push our body too far. As you exhale, straighten the left leg, look to the left toes, and then inhale, reach the right hand towards the front of the mat. So just take a moment here, stabilize, push the floor away from you. Feel this sense of lift up and out of that right hip. And then next time you inhale, back to your variation of side angle. Exhale, variation of triangle. Inhaling into side angle and exhaling into triangle. As you inhale, your gaze is to your thumb. And as you exhale, your gaze is to your toes. Then inhale back to warrior two. Exhale, windmill the hands. Step the right foot forward. Take the feet hip distance apart, lift the heels, bend the knees. Allow the head to droop forward and close off your eyes. This is our transition pose between our yang and our yin. So while yang is energetic, the movement practice was not super fast because each movement went for the length of our breath. And we were able to maintain a balanced nervous system, maintain an evenness to our breath, whilst building strength and length in the body simultaneously. Bringing a sense of hydration into the tissues, the muscle, the myofascia, to release the toxins that aren't serving us right now. And now, as we make that transition, we start to take the practice more into yin. And in yin, we require zero muscle force, just time, breath, and patience. From here, slowly bring your hands behind you and come sit down on your mat. So as you sit down on the mat, just notice. So we're going to start by crossing the legs, the right shin over the left, the bum behind us, obviously, sorry. So the bum on the floor, in fact. And then notice if, as I do this, am I rounded in my spine? Is it a real struggle for me to sit up? And if it is, just take your mat or take a blanket or a cushion or a towel and just roll it up so you can draw your bum onto that and feel a little height to help your pelvis sit in a better position to allow you that tall spine. If, like at the beginning of the practice when you're in Supta Baddha Konasana, the outer hips are sore here, then extend the legs out in front of you and take them about mat distance apart. So it's not Upavishta Konasana, but it's not Paschimottanasana. It's not a forward fold with straight legs, but it's not as wide as you go. From there, wherever you choose to be, inhale, reach the hands to the sky. And exhale, open the arms out wide. Bring the right hand behind you. Bring your left hand to the outer edge of your left knee, or your left hand to the center of the mat and in front of your pelvis. So if you've got your legs extended, that's where your left hand should be. Then close off the eyes and be in no rush to force this twist. Take your internal gaze now to the right corners of your eye. And breathe. And feel the breath as it enters your body. And feel the breath as it leaves. And notice the subtleties within your physical body as you take that oxygen on board. And notice the subtleties as you let it go. And then really this pose, a preparatory pose for where we're coming next, where we walk our hands out to the right diagonal over our right leg and allow the head to hang heavy. So notice now you can close off your eyes and just notice it doesn't matter where the body gets to, but any tension in the front of your hips, I'm going to ask you to come up a little bit. Any tension in the back of the hips, the back of the joint, no problem. So nothing's working here. We're not grounding, we're not pulling, we're not pushing. We've literally got to what we call our edge, where our body will naturally go, and that's where we stop. And now we take that internal gaze to our third eye, and that becomes our focal point. And every time we get to that subtle pause at the top and at the bottom of the breath, that's where we rest. And that's where we bring that attention to that very particular space. And so we're not looking out for any other sensations today. We're building our ability to concentrate and to focus. And know when we've got 100,000 things happening in the world around us, that might not necessarily be easy. So your job, as you notice the mind wander, to not beat yourself up about it, but just to return to your third eye. That is your focal point. And we're going to be here, and I'm going to leave you with your focus, with your breath, with your body, for about 60 more seconds. And slowly press your hands into the floor. So take your time to come out of this pose. And slowly coming all the way back up. Bring your hands behind you. And just extend your legs out in front of you. And taking the hands just to rest your body, you're just going to windscreen wipe your legs from side to side. So you're just turning the femur bones in the hip socket, the feet follow. And then taking the left ankle in front of the right leg, or just coming back to that same position. So now we're going to twist the other way. You're going to inhale, reach the hands to the sky, and exhale, twist at the waist as you reach your hands nice and wide. Bring the right hand to the outer edge of the knee, the left hand to the floor, or the right hand right into the center of the mat. And we're not forcing and drawing ourselves into this pose. We're just getting to where the body goes to, and then we're pausing. Then we become attentive to breath, and then we allow ourselves a little patience. Right now, our internal gaze to the corner of our eye, because that just helps encourage that twist right now. And we're using this pose to set us up for the next variation of the pose as we sink over the left leg. So as you exhale, bring the left hand back in front of you, walk your hands out to the left diagonal, and just allow the head to hang over towards the left knee. Remember, it does not matter what this looks like. The different bodies are skeletally built in very different ways. And what my body can do in terms of structural movement, the next person may not be able to do that movement. And because of the shape of the hips, we often see this. This often resonates around hips. Shoulders also, but in this particular pose, it's more about the hips. In many of the poses, it's about the hips. And just allow the body to find a still place. And notice where your mind is right now. And then bring that mind's eye to that third eye. Breathe into that space. And be with that space. Like a focal meditation within the practice of yin. Notice where the mind has travelled to right now and bring it back to its focal point. No judgment, no reprimands, just observation and return. And slowly press into the hands and come all the way back up. Extend your legs out in front of you. And so windscreen wipering the legs. So if you have access to a wall where you can bring your legs up the wall and lie comfortably in a space beyond the wall, then I'm going to recommend you do this pose with your legs up the wall. If you haven't got a wall, then that same roll of the mat or the blanket can be really nice to help lift the legs. So we can just bring the blanket or the roll of the mat to the base of the spine, and we can just allow our legs to be up high. Alternatively, we bring ourselves right up close to the wall, extend our legs up that wall, and allow the pelvis to be completely on the floor. So I need to come back a little way, otherwise my pelvis is lifting up. So I've got a small space today. You can also elevate the space underneath your back here with a small cushion or a blanket or your hands. And then just allow the body to soften and settle. Closing your eyes, bring your attention to your third eye. Now I know the breath, the lungs are not in your forehead. But as you breathe, just breathe to that space. So it's just a visualization rather than a scientific actualization. It helps us to remain focused. It helps us to release the tension everywhere else in the body. This is one of my favorite poses to reduce anxiety and stress, to help my legs recover when they're tired from training, and generally to feel a little more rested. Notice where the mind has travelled and bring it back to your third eye. We'll be here for about another minute. Every time you notice your mind wandering, just bring it back.
So slowly, wherever you've been, if it's up against the wall, just turn yourself around again. And if it's just up to the sky, then just release the mat from under your bum and roll it out. Or move the towel or the blanket from under your bum. And then we're just going to take Shavasana. So allow yourself to soften and settle. No, you can bring a pillow under your knees for more comfort in the back, or bend the knees and bring the knees together. If your back feels fine, extend the legs out in front of you. And close off your eyes. Allow the body to feel heavy, no need to work that anymore. Allow the breath to return to its natural ebb and flow, maybe a little deeper and a little more fluid than when you started the practice. And allow the chatter of the mind to stay quiet as you turn your attention purely to that third eye. And we'll stay in Shavasana for about 3 minutes. So before you bring any movement back into your body, just take a moment to feel the sensations right now. Sometimes I like a still and stable practice where I can focus my attention within a specific pose. And other times I like to move with my breath to feel more open and alive, to get the breath flowing. And this month I found it appropriate to work with the latter, to release the tension, to get the positive energy flowing, to feel good. Bring movement to the fingers and the toes and the wrists and the ankles. And hug your knees in towards your chest. A little rock from side to side. So you take your time, come up to find a comfortable seat. And if you can, keep your eyes closed and bring your hands either onto your knees or into your lap. And one of my favorite quotes: in the midst of movement and chaos, keep stillness inside of you. I think we can heed that advice right now. Take every opportunity we can to find those small moments to breathe, to move, to find stillness. Bring the palms together to your third eye space. Take a breath into that space, and as you exhale, bow your head. Namaste.